Have you ever left a conversation, gone home, and then somehow kept having it in your head for hours? You replay what they said, you replay what you said. You wonder how your voice sounded, whether your face looked awkward, whether you said too much or not enough. At first it can seem harmless, just thinking, just reflecting, just trying to understand what happened. But sometimes it does not feel like reflection. It feels like getting stuck. Like your mind keeps pressing repeat on a moment that already ended. You sit down to relax and suddenly the conversation comes back. A small pause in someone's voice, a look on their face, a joke you made, a message you sent, a sentence you wish you had worded differently. And now your body is not in the present anymore. Part of you is back there, scanning the moment for signs that you did something wrong. Why does this happen? Sometimes, replaying a conversation is your mind's way of trying to protect you. If you can study the moment enough, maybe you can prevent future embarrassment. Maybe you can avoid rejection. Maybe you can understand what the other person really meant. Maybe you can fix the discomfort after the fact. So your brain starts reviewing, not because it enjoys torturing you, but because somewhere inside it believes there must be something important hidden in the moment. For some people, this starts early. Maybe you grew up needing to read moods carefully. Maybe a small shift in someone's tone could mean criticism, tension, withdrawal, or disappointment. Maybe it felt important to notice what others were feeling before they said it out loud. If that happened often enough, your mind may have learned that conversations are not just conversations. They are places where safety, approval, belonging, or conflict are constantly being negotiated. So after the conversation ends, your brain does not fully let go. It keeps working. It keeps checking. It keeps asking, what did that mean? Did I miss something? Did I say the wrong thing? Are they upset? Did I look foolish? And this is why replaying can feel so exhausting. It is not only about words. It is about uncertainty. It is about trying to resolve tension that your body still feels, even when the moment is over. That is also why some conversations stay with you more than others. A perfectly neutral interaction may not get stuck at all, but a conversation with mixed signals often will. A delayed reply, a polite smile that felt slightly distant, a message with no emoji when you expected warmth, a silence that your mind cannot interpret. When the meaning feels unclear, the replay loop gets stronger, because your mind would often rather keep searching than accept not knowing. And sometimes, replaying is not really about the other person. Sometimes it is about the version of yourself you are afraid they saw. Maybe you worry that you sounded needy, or awkward, or too quiet, or too intense, or careless, or boring. So the conversation becomes a mirror and your mind stares into it too long, looking for proof of how you came across. But the longer you stare, the less clear it becomes. You start filling gaps with fear. You start turning small details into evidence. You start confusing possibility with certainty. A pause becomes disapproval. A short reply becomes annoyance. A neutral expression becomes rejection. And before long, you are not remembering the conversation anymore. You are reconstructing it through anxiety. That can make you feel trapped because it seems like the answer is always just one more thought away. If I think about it a little more, maybe I will finally understand. Maybe I will finally feel settled. Maybe I will finally know if I am okay. But usually, that relief does not last. Because the mind that created the doubt is rarely satisfied by more doubt. This does not mean reflecting is bad. Sometimes replaying helps you notice something real. Sometimes it helps you repair, learn, or understand yourself better. But there is a difference between learning from a conversation and living inside it. Learning sounds like, I see what happened. Living inside it sounds like, I need to keep going over it until I feel safe. And that is where the loop becomes painful. Because no amount of replaying can give you perfect certainty about how every moment was received. You cannot fully control how other people interpret you. You cannot guarantee that everyone understood your heart exactly the way you meant it. And you cannot think your way out of every uncomfortable feeling. Sometimes the real work is not solving the conversation. Sometimes the real work is noticing that the conversation is over. The room you are in now is not that moment. The chair you are sitting in now is not that message thread. The danger your mind is searching for may not exist in the present at all. That does not mean you force the thoughts away. It does not mean pretending you do not care. It means gently recognizing what your mind is trying to do. It is trying to protect you from shame, rejection, awkwardness, or regret. It is trying to make sure nothing important gets missed, and you can appreciate that without following it forever. You can say, I notice that I am replaying this again. I notice that my mind wants certainty. I notice that part of me is trying to go back and fix something that already ended. That small awareness matters. Because once you notice the loop, you have a little more space inside it. You do not have to solve every thought. You do not have to answer every mental question. You do not have to keep reopening the conversation just because your mind brings it back. Sometimes peace begins when you let the moment be unfinished. Maybe they misunderstood you a little. Maybe they did not. Maybe you were awkward for 5 seconds. Maybe that does not define you. Maybe the conversation was imperfect and still okay. You are allowed to be a person who sometimes says things imperfectly. You are allowed to be seen without endlessly editing yourself afterward. You are allowed to leave a conversation behind, even if part of you wants one more review. And maybe replaying does not mean you are broken. Maybe it means your mind has spent a long time believing that social safety must be earned through perfect awareness. But safety does not always come from thinking more. Sometimes it comes from letting the moment end. So if you keep replaying conversations in your head, it does not necessarily mean the conversation was a disaster. It may simply mean your mind is still learning that not every interaction needs to be analyzed to exhaustion. And maybe that is where quiet begins. Not when every word is explained. Not when every expression is decoded. But when you allow yourself to stop searching for danger in a moment that has already passed.